Kansas City Chiefs will be moving on offense from left to right. In the backfield, Len Dawson at the quarterback, and the running backs are Burt Cohen and Curtis McClinton. The wide receivers are Chris Burford and Otis Taylor, with Fred Arbanis as the tight end. The offensive line is anchored by Wayne Frazier at center, with Reynolds and Budd at the guards, and Hill and Tyre are the tackles. For the Dolphins on defense, the ends will be Laverne Torcham and Ed Cook. The tackles are Rich Zeiker and Tom Nomina. For linebacking, Frank Emanuel is in the middle. He's flanked by Tom Erlandson and Jack Rudolph. In the secondary, Jimmy Warren and Dick Westmoreland are at the corners, with Willie West and Pete Jacques as the safeties. Dawson hands off to Cohen up the middle, breaking tackles. He's at the 50, 40, 30, 20, and he's down at the Dolphins' 10 by Jimmy Warren and John McGeever. And Cohen scores from the 1-yard line, giving the Chiefs an early lead, 7-0. And Mike Mercer extends the Chiefs' lead 10-0 on a 22-yard field goal. And Kansas City continues to roll with a 27-yard touchdown pass from Len Dawson to Fred Arbanis for a 17-0 lead.
And that is the end of the first quarter. As we begin the second quarter, the Dolphins have the ball. They will be moving from our left to right and have a 1st and 10 on the Kansas City 47-yard line. On offense, the Dolphins will have George Wilson Jr. at quarterback, with Sammy Price and Cookie Gilchrist as the running backs. The wide receivers are Frank Jackson and Carl Noonan, with Dave Kakore at the tight end position. We have Tom Good anchoring the offensive line at center, and the tackles are Norm Evans and Maxie Williams, with the guards Ken Rice and Ernie Park. On defense, the Chiefs have Chuck Hurston and Jerry Mays at the ends, with Buck Buchanan and Andy Rice as the tackles. At linebacking, Cheryl Hedrick is the middle linebacker, with Holb and Bell flanking him on each side. In the secondary, Fred Williamson and Willie Mitchell are the cornerbacks, with Bobby Hunt and Johnny Robinson as the safeties. The backs behind George Wilson are Cookie Gilchrist and Sammy Price, with tight end Dave Kukurik on the near side. Frank Jackson is set wide on the far side, and Carl Noonan is wide on the near side. Wilson, play fake to Gilchrist. He drops back. He rolls right and dubs off to Price. It is incomplete. It was Chuck Hurston who pressured Wilson. He is a second-year man out of Auburn. He was drafted by both leagues. The NFL Packers took him in the 15th round, and the Bills took him in the 12th. He was picked up by the Chiefs in the off-season. It's 2nd and 10 from the 47. Gilchrist and Price are set behind Wilson, with Kukurik and Noonan set on the far side and Jackson on the near side. Wilson drops back, sets up, throws over the middle to Price, but it's incomplete. The pressure was coming from the outside, but Wilson gets the pass off but overthrows his target Price, who was defended by Fred Williamson. Williamson was originally drafted by the NFL Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1960 draft. He played 4 seasons with Oakland and came to the Chiefs last year. It's 3rd and 10 from the 47. Gilchrist and Price, the running backs. Kukurik and Noonan line up on the right side with Jackson on the left. He drops back, throws long to Price. Intercepted by Bobby Hunt at the 17, out of bounds at the 21, tackled by Price. Hunt is a 5th-year defensive back out of Auburn. He was a rookie on the then Dallas Texans 1962 championship team. Now the pressure comes again, but Wilson gets the pass off but overthrows his target by about 5 yards and is intercepted by Hunt. It's 3rd and 20 from the 11-yard line. The backs behind Dawson are McClinton and Garrett. The tight end is Fred Arbanis, and he is set on the far side. Otis Taylor is also wide on the far side, and Chris Burford is set on the near side. Dawson, short drop, throws right to Taylor at the 20. He sprints down the far sideline. Westmoreland chases Taylor down, but misses the tackle. Chris Burford and Al Reynolds provide blocking as Taylor goes inside across the field. Touchdown. It's an 89-yard catch and run for the touchdown. In his second year, Otis Taylor was drafted by both leagues. The NFL Philadelphia Eagles drafted him in the 15th round of last year's draft, and the Chiefs took him in the 4th round of the AFL draft. And there goes War Paint. The throw by Dawson was made quickly from the short drop. Taylor catches the ball on the far side as Jimmy Warren misses the tackle. Taylor streaks downfield, then he picks up blockers as he goes, including quarterback Len Dawson, and scores the TD. Mike Mercer lines up for the extra point with Dawson holding. The snap, the hold, the kick is up and no good. It's blocked by 44 Pete Jacquez. Pete Jacquez is a native of Earth, Texas, and was a 20th round draft pick of the Houston Oilers in the 1964 draft. He played 2 seasons with the Oilers and was an AFL All-Star his rookie year. And the score remains 23-0 in favor of the Chiefs. Bob Neff puts on an exciting kickoff return for 90 yards. He is an undrafted free agent signed by the Dolphins. He took the ball at the goal line and ran it all the way back to the Kansas City 10-yard line for a Miami 1st and goal. The backs behind Wilson are Gilchrist and Price. Kukurik is tight on the near side. Jackson is set wide on the far side, and Noonan is wide on the near side. Wilson fakes the handoff to Gilchrist, rolls to his left, throws to Jackson in the end zone. Interception by Robinson at the goal line. He returns to the 4, and the tackle is made by Gilchrist. Once again, the defense ignored the play fake. The ball was well thrown by Wilson, but Robinson made a great play on the ball by stepping in front of Jackson at the goal line. But he doesn't get very far as Gilchrist was there to make the tackle. Johnny Robinson was drafted in the 1st round by both leagues in 1960 coming out of LSU. The NFL Lions made Robinson the 3rd overall pick, but he chose to sign with the Chiefs, who also selected him in the 1st round of the AFL draft. The backs behind Dawson are McClinton and Garrett. The Dolphins shift. Dawson inside handoff to McClinton. He is met by Frank Emanuel in the hole for only a 2-yard gain. The handoff was picture perfect and the hole opened up in the middle, but Emanuel and Jacquez quickly filled the hole for a short gain. Frank Emanuel was a 4th round pick of the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL draft and a 2nd round pick of the Dolphins in the AFL draft. He was a consensus All-American last year out of Tennessee, and in August of this year he appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated. McClinton and Cohen are behind Dawson. Arbanis is on the near side, Taylor wide right, Burford wide left. Dawson drops back, throws left to Burford. Incomplete at the Kansas City 10, and defended by number 25, Dick Westmoreland. The protection was perfect as Dawson throws quickly to his left, but the ball was high and behind Burford and he was unable to make the catch. Len Dawson is a 10-year player out of Purdue. He was a 1st round draft pick by the NFL Pittsburgh Steelers. He was later released by the Cleveland Browns in 1962 and picked up by the then Dallas Texans in that same year. Arbanis again set left with Taylor wide right and Burford is wide left on the near side. Dawson is under center calling signals. Dolphins shift. Dawson hands off to McClinton moving across the backfield. He's tackled by Nomina in the backfield for a loss. The Dolphins were able to penetrate into the backfield as McClinton runs parallel to the line of scrimmage. He is met in the backfield by Nomina at the Kansas City 2-yard line. Nomina was drafted by the NFL Los Angeles Rams in the 2nd round of the 1963 draft, and the AFL Broncos likewise took him in the 2nd round of the AFL draft. The Dolphins picked up Nomina earlier this year in the AFL expansion draft. The punter, 44, Gerald Wilson, stands at the end line. His kick is away. It's taken by Bob Neff at the Kansas City 45. He runs to the inside, where he is met by Aaron Brown and Tony Domingo at the 35. It's a 34-yard punt by Wilson with a 10-yard return by Neff. So the Dolphins will begin in great field position First and 10 at the Kansas City 35. Let's see if they can get going and score some points. The backs behind Wilson are Gilchrist and Price. Kukurik and Noonan line up on the near side with Jackson on the far side. Wilson, hand off to Gilchrist sweeping left. He turns the corner and is out of bounds at the Kansas City 30 for a 5-yard gain. The tackle was by Hedrick. The Chiefs maintained their lanes and strung out the play. Gilchrist wanted to cut inside, but instead turns the corner and was out of bounds by Hedrick for the 5-yard gain. Gilchrist played 6 seasons in the Canadian Football League before joining the Buffalo Bills in 1962. He became the first AFL player to rush for 1,000 yards or more. After winning 2 championships with the Bills, he was traded to the Broncos in 1965 and came to the Dolphins this year in the off-season. Again, it's Wilson, Gilchrist, and Price in the backfield. Kukurik and Noonan line up to the right on the near side with Jackson left on the far side. Wilson hands off to Gilchrist sweeping left. He cuts inside and is tackled by Buchanan near the 20-yard line. Buchanan is in his 4th year and was drafted by both leagues in 1963. The NFL New York Giants selected him in the 19th round, while the Chiefs selected him in the 1st round of the AFL draft. This looks like a repeat of the previous play. The play is going left to the far side of the field when Ken Rice pulls to lead the way. Gilchrist sees the opening and cuts upfield. Buchanan hits him at the 25 and is carried down to the 21 for a 9-yard gain and a first down. Kukurik and Noonan on the near side with Jackson on the far side. Gilchrist and Price behind Wilson. Wilson, hand off to Price up the middle, but is tackled for no gain by Buck Buchanan and Bobby Bell. Price takes the handoff going up the middle, but Buchanan meets him in the backfield and takes him down for no gain. The backs behind Wilson are Gilchrist and Price. Jackson is set on the far side with Kukurik and Noonan on the near side. Wilson drops back, throws in the middle to Jackson. It's broken up by Robinson. Jackson runs a down and in to the 10-yard line, but he can't make the grab before Robinson makes the hit and dislodges the ball. Frank Jackson was drafted by the then Dallas Texans in 1961 AFL draft and played on the 1962 Texan championship team. He was an all-star last year. The Dolphins acquired Jackson in the expansion draft from the Chiefs. This is the first time he has faced his former teammates. So it's 3rd down from the Kansas City 20. Gilchrist and Price are the backs behind Wilson. Jackson set wide on the far side with Kukurik and Noonan on the near side. Wilson drops back, throws in the middle to Gilchrist. It's overthrown and incomplete, which will bring up 4th down. Gene Mingo lines up for the field goal with Wilson holding. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it's good. Mingo was signed by the Denver Broncos as an undrafted free agent in 1960. The Dolphins picked him up from the Raiders in the expansion draft earlier this year. With 10:05 left in the second quarter, it is now Kansas City 23 and Miami 3. Mingo lines up for the kickoff. He comes forward. The kick is high down the middle to Emmett Thomas at the Kansas City 11. He moves up the field to the far side, and the tackle is by the kicker Mingo at the Kansas City 33. On the previous play, Burtford made a great catch for 13 yards and the first down at the Kansas City 46-yard line. McClinton and Cohen line up behind Dawson. Dawson is under center calling signals. Dawson hands off to Cohen, moving wide right. He turns upfield and is tackled by Jack Rudolph and Jimmy Warren for no gain. Rudolph played his college ball at Georgia Tech and was drafted by both leagues in 1960. He was taken by the NFL Lions in the 17th round, and the Boston Patriots took him in the 2nd round of the AFL draft. He was acquired by the Dolphins in the offseason. Rudolph was an original player for both the Boston Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. The penetration of the Dolphin defense forced Cohen wide and deeper into the backfield.
He saw a lane and turned upfield, only to be met by Rudolph and Warren for no gain. Cohen and McClinton behind Dawson, Urbanus and Taylor on the far side with Burford on the near side. Dawson drops back, looks left, throws to Burford at the 40, and he's out of bounds by Dick Westmoreland. The throw by Dawson was on target, and Burford had a step on Westmoreland, who manages to grab him and pull him out of bounds at the Miami 39. A native of Charlotte, North Carolina, Westmoreland signed with the San Diego Chargers in 1963 as an undrafted free agent out of North Carolina A&T. The Chargers won the AFL championship that year. In January this year, he was taken by the Dolphins in the AFL expansion draft. Cohen and McClinton are the backs behind Dawson, Burford on the near side with Urbanus and Taylor on the far side. Dawson rolls right, throws to Taylor, intercepted by Jimmy Warren going down the sideline. He's at midfield, 40, 30, 20, 10. Touchdown. Warren was an undrafted free agent who signed with the Chargers in 1964. The Dolphins took him in this year's AFL expansion draft. Taylor runs a down and out. The throw by Dawson was on target, but Warren had position and was able to step in front of Taylor for the NIT. He races down the sideline. Dawson tries to catch him but couldn't. The result is a touchdown. Mingo lines up for the extra point. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it's good. Kansas City 23, Miami 10. Gene Mingo lines up for the kickoff. The kick is high down the middle to Mike Garrett, and at the KC 13, he moves upfield and to the far side and tackled by Mel Branch at the KC 25. It is 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Mike Garrett is a rookie out of USC. He was selected by the LA Rams in the second round of the NFL draft, but he chose to sign with the Chiefs, who took him in the 20th round of the AFL draft. The backs behind Dawson are McClinton and Cohen. Urbanus, Burford on the near side with Taylor on the far side. Dawson drops back, looks left, throws to Taylor at the 30. He turns upfield, but met by Willie West and Warren, and they take him down at the 37. The throw by Dawson was on target, but West was there with Warren. Taylor tries to shake them, but he can't. West takes him down along with Jaquez, but it's a 12-yard gain for a first down. West is a journeyman who began his career in 1960 with the NFL St. Louis Cardinals. In 1962, he signed with the AFL Bills. He moved on to the Broncos and then the Jets. The Dolphins took him in the AFL expansion draft earlier this year. In 1963, he was an all-star with the Bills. McClinton and Cohen split behind Dawson, Urbanus and Burford on the near side, Taylor on the far side. Dawson hands off to Cohen. He cuts up the middle to the 43 and tackled by West and Warren. Cohen lines up on the left side of the backfield. Moving left, he cuts up the middle where the center was and goes untouched until West takes his legs out at the 43 for a 6-yard gain. Dawson, McClinton, and Garrett in the backfield. Urbanus and Burford on the near side with Taylor on the far side. Dawson hands off to Garrett, but he fumbles, and it's recovered by Rudolph for the Dolphins. First down, Miami at the Kansas City 38-yard line. Garrett moves up the middle towards the line of scrimmage as Dawson hands him the ball. It appeared Garrett wasn't ready for the handoff and can't secure it, and it ends up on the ground and recovered by Jack Rudolph for the Dolphins. Rudolph has 2 career interceptions and now has his 2nd career fumble recovery. Gilchrist and Price split behind Wilson. Kukurik and Noonan on the near side, Twilley on the far side. Wilson hands off to Gilchrist up the middle to the KC 35. The tackle is by Andy Price and Buck Buchanan. Andy Rice is a second-year man out of Texas Southern. He was undrafted and signed with the Chiefs as a free agent in 1965. The play is straight up the middle. The Miami line gets movement against the Chiefs and opens a hole in the center of the line, but it closes quickly for a 3-yard gain. The tackle by Andy Rice. George Wilson with Gilchrist and Price in the backfield. Kukurik and Noonan on the near side with Twilley set on the far side. Wilson drops back, looks right, throws to Kukurik at the 32, but it's incomplete. Dave Kukurik played his college ball at Wisconsin.
He was drafted by the NFL Steelers in the 1959 draft, but he chose to go play at the Canadian Football League instead. In 1960, he signed with the AFL Chargers and was taken by the Dolphins in this year's expansion draft. Wilson takes a short drop and throws quickly to Kukurik, who is open, but he can't quite reach the ball. Now it's 3rd and 7 from the KC 35. Wilson, Gilchrist, and Price in the backfield, Noonan on the far side with Kukurik and Twilley on the near side. Wilson drops back, looks left, throws to Gilchrist, but it's incomplete. Wilson takes a short drop and throws quickly to Gilchrist, but he's not looking for the ball, and it falls incomplete. 4th and 7 from the KC 35. Gene Mingo lines up for the field goal with Wilson holding. The snap, the hold, the kick is up. It's no good. The Chiefs take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Dawson with McClinton and Garrett in the backfield. Dawson hands off to Garrett going right. He cuts up the middle to the 24 where he is stopped by Erlandson. The Chiefs open a big hole in the middle of the Dolphin line, and Garrett cuts into the hole with Erlandson making the stop at the 24. It is now 2nd and 7. Urbanus and Taylor on the far side with Burford on the near side. Dawson drops back, rolling right. He throws long to Taylor at the Miami 35, and Warren is right there to break it up. It's incomplete. We have a holding penalty on the Chiefs. It's half the distance to the goal line to the Kansas City 12, 2nd and 18. Dawson with McClinton and Garrett in the backfield. Urbanus and Taylor on the far side with Burford on the near side. The give to Garrett going up the middle, and he's stopped by Dotson and Erlandson at the KC 15. Garrett finds the hole up the middle, but Dotson slides off of Dave Hill to make the stop. It's now 3rd and 15 for the first down. And Fred Urbanus makes the catch at the Kansas City 30-yard line for the first down. Dawson with McClinton and Garrett in the backfield. Urbanus and Taylor on the far side with Burford on the near side. Dawson pitches left to Garrett with Tyre out front. He avoids the tacklers to the 35 and the stop by Rudolph and West. West is an AFL All-Star player out of Oregon. This is a misdirection play with Dawson spinning right and then pitching left to Garrett, with Jim Tyre and Ed Buddy pulling on the sweep. Rudolph avoids the interference for the initial hit, and West finishes him off. We have a holding penalty on the Chiefs. The pulling guard, Ed Buddy, was flagged, and it pushes the Chiefs back to their own 15-yard line for 1st and 25. Dawson with McClinton and Garrett in the backfield. Dawson, quick handoff to Garrett up the middle to the 20 and tackled by Rich Zeiker. Rich Zeiker is in his 2nd year out of Utah State. The Chiefs' offensive line cleared out the middle for Garrett. Ed Budd manages to occupy Zeiker, who then slides off to make the tackle after a 5-yard gain. It is now 2nd down and 20. Dawson is under center calling signals. He hands off to Garrett up the middle, but he's stacked up and is taken down at the 23 for a 3-yard gain. Things are stacked up at the point of attack. Garrett follows his blockers and they push the pile, but then he is taken down by Branch, Rudolph, and West for the short gain. It is now 3rd and 17. Mel Branch was a member of the 1958 LSU Tigers, who won the national championship. In 1960, he was drafted by both leagues. The 49ers took him in the 10th round of the NFL draft, and the then Dallas Texans took him in the 2nd round of the AFL draft. He signed with the Texans and was a part of the 1962 AFL championship team. The Dolphins took him in the expansion draft earlier this year. Dawson is under center calling signals. Play fake to McClinton, drops back, looks right, he pumps. He throws long to Urbanus at the 48. It's incomplete and defended by Jimmy Warren. After faking the handoff, Dawson rolls to his right, pump fakes, then throws to Fred Urbanus, but the throw is off target and Urbanus can't reach it. Fred Urbanus is the 6-year player out of Michigan State. Coming out of college in 1961, he was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 2nd round of the NFL draft. He was also drafted by the Dallas Texans in the 7th round of the AFL draft. He signed with the Texans and was a part of the 1962 AFL Championship team. The punter, Gerald Wilson, stands at the Kansas City 7. The snap. The kick is away. Taken by Frank Jackson at the Miami 29. He runs to his left, cuts upfield, and the tackle is by Odrowski and Frank Pitts at the Miami 36. The snap is low. Wilson gets away a good kick and is fielded by Jackson, who moves to the left and then heads upfield. Odrowski is the first to get a hand on him, and then Pitts takes him down. Frank Pitts was drafted by the NFL Chicago Bears and the AFL Kansas City Chiefs in their respective drafts last year. He signed with the Chiefs and is in his second year with the team. Wilson with Gilchrist and Price in the backfield. Wilson drops back, throws down the middle to Gilchrist, but it's just off his fingertips, incomplete, defended by Johnny Robinson. Wilson drops back. He's looking for Gilchrist, who is being covered by Bobby Bell. He gets away from Bell, but the throw is just a little too long, and Robinson is there to break it up. Kukurik and Noonan on the near side with Twilley on the far side. Wilson drops back. 55 Hullum is coming on the blitz. Wilson gets the pass away to Gilchrist in the flat. He dodges Williamson. He is met by Bell and Stover and struggles his way back to the 36. No gain. Hullum came in on the blitz unblocked, but Wilson just gets the pass off to Gilchrist, who fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. Gilchrist and Price set behind Wilson. Kukurik and Noonan on the far side with Twilley set on the near side. Wilson drops back, throws to his right to number 30, Price at the 42. It's deflected and taken by 24 Williamson down the sideline and tackled by Twilley at the Miami 25. Twilley is a rookie wide receiver out of Tulsa. Last year at Tulsa, he set an NCAA record for the most receiving yards in a season, 1,779. Twilley was also the runner-up for the 1965 Heisman Trophy. Wilson gets good protection and waits for Price to come open. The pass was high but catchable, and Price tips it up in the air, allowing Williamson to take it on the run and going down to the Miami 25. Fred Arbanis and Otis Taylor are set on the near side with Chris Burford set wide on the far side. Dawson fakes the handoff to Garrett, rolls right, fakes the reverse to Burford, and he is sacked by 76 Tom Nomina at the Miami 35. After faking the handoff, Dawson rolls to his right and fakes the reverse to Burford, but the coverage downfield gives Nomina and Ed Cook time to apply pressure, and Nomina gets the sack. Tom Nomina is a third-year defensive lineman out of Miami of Ohio. Arbanis and Taylor on the near side with Burford wide on the far side. Dawson drops back, looks left. He throws left to Burford at the Miami 6, and he runs in for the TD and defended by Westmoreland. Chris Burford is the third-year wide receiver out of Stanford. And there goes war paint. Dawson is looking for Burford all the way, who is covered by Westmoreland. He breaks free at the Miami 6, and Westmoreland can't get there in time, and Burford scores. Mike Mercer lines up to kick the extra point with Dawson holding. The snap. It's a fake. Dawson is going to throw. He passes to Wilson at the Miami 3. He's in for the touchdown. The two-point conversion is unique to the AFL. The Chiefs line up for the kick. At the snap, Mercer follows through with the fake as Dawson prepares to throw. He looks for Wilson and finds him, and he is met at the goal line by Westmoreland, but he powers in for the touchdown. What a turn of events. The Chiefs now lead 31-10. And Mike Mercer comes forward and kicks off. It bounces around the Miami 12 and is picked up on the bounce by Bob Neff at the Miami 9, and he fights his way to the Miami 23, tackled by Chuck Hurston and Frank Pitts. So it is Miami 1st and 10 from their own 23 with only 16 seconds left in the half. Barring a penalty or something else, the Dolphins' next play will end the first half. Gilchrist and Price are behind Wilson. Kukurik and Twilley set on the near side with Noonan wide on the far side. Wilson hands off to Gilchrist up the middle.
He is stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain by Andy Rice and company. So this will end the first half, and the teams will make their way to the locker room, and the halftime show will begin shortly. Of course, the nagging question is whether or not the expansion Dolphins can come back in the second half. We are ready to begin the third quarter. The Chiefs dominated the first half and currently lead the Dolphins 31-10. Although Miami is an expansion team, we have seen some good individual efforts. And Mike Mercer has kicked a 19-yard field goal to increase the Chiefs' lead 34-10. And that is the end of the third quarter. The Dolphins trail the Chiefs 10-34. As we open the fourth quarter, the Dolphins' defense was able to keep the Chiefs out of the end zone and held them to just a Mercer field goal. Unfortunately, the Dolphins were unable to score themselves. And Joe Auer has scored on a 1-yard run for the Dolphins' first offensive touchdown of the day. Unfortunately, the 2-point conversion failed, but they did narrow the Kansas City lead to 34-16. And that is the end of the game. The Kansas City Chiefs have defeated the Miami Dolphins by the score of 34-16.